Welcome to the London Free Press Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Gilbert. Well, we've already talked a few times about the $25 million homelessness plan that dozens of organizations in London are working on. The money was donated by an anonymous family who still wishes to remain anonymous, but now they're speaking out. And today I'm talking with Randy Richmond, who got the exclusive anonymous interview with that family and their reasons for donating this money to create a whole of community response to homelessness. Hi, Randy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I know you've been following this story for some time, since the beginning, and we've talked with you a few times about it. Did you know who the family was before this interview?
No, I had no idea who it was. I had some guesses that were wrong.
Okay.
Probably many people have some guesses that are wrong. And
Okay.
then I was working with some of the organizers of the whole community response and asked if I could speak. And it took a while, but the donor agreed. The husband agreed to talk on behalf of himself and his wife. And
Okay.
yeah, it was not a name I had expected. Put it that way.
Okay. All right. So they've talked to you, so you know who they are, but how many people actually know who they are? Do you know?
That's a good question. I know there'd be a few. The mayor and some others. I think people involved with the London Community Foundation, which is holding
Mm,
on to the fund.
mm-hmm.
No, and the people who contacted me with the person know. So it's out there among some people. But and you know,
But
I
it's
but
not it's not a known thing yet.
no, it's not a known thing yet. It's not now, and he might make it a known thing at some point.
Okay.
But for the moment, yes, it's not known who he is. Hold on
Okay.
a second. I'm just
And
trying to.
they want to remain anonymous. Why does he want to remain anonymous? Because we all think what an amazing thing. We should celebrate these people.
Yeah, and the person has, if I look at his background, was certainly well known in many communities and is probably well known among the philanthropy community and also in the business community, very well known. But he's always, and his wife have always had this belief that they're not doing it for themselves or to get attention. So they've given money before loss, I think, from what he
Mm-hmm.
said, to different organizations, but they never wanted their name on a building, as he said. They never wanted their name attached to it. So this kind of quiet philanthropy has been going on for a long time for them. And they just don't want to be front and center, as they say. And the other interesting thing is their background. They have friends, and some of their friends know they are well off, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
from their lifestyle, but they don't want their friends to know how big of a deal they are, to put it that way, or how much they give or anything like that. They don't want it to affect their friendships that they've built up over the years. People look at you differently when they
Mm-hmm.
find out you have lots of money. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know that
Yes.
personally, but
We
what
wouldn't
I
know that.
from
I
what I've
don't know
heard,
that either, but
from what I've
yeah.
heard.
It's
So
like when people win the lottery and then all these far distant cousins come out of the woodwork, right?
right.
Yeah.
So it's I think if you're friends with this family, you know that they have some money because they go on trips
Mm-hmm.
and things, but maybe not to this extent. And very quiet, very classic small town Ontario upbringing. Very that kind of a we see it a lot here in Southwest Ontario. Where, you keep you keep things to yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
are,
Mm-hmm.
you're not boastful or you show too much pride,
Sure.
or anger or anything. You kind of, you keep life or you're kind of stoic, I guess. That's kind of a small
And
town
very
Ontario.
humble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they're from the London area? Like, have they grown up in this area?
Now they've grown up in southwestern Ontario.
Okay.
And it's like it's kind of a range of where they're from, like from, Kitchener on all the way down to Windsor kind of areas is sort of where they've grown up. And but a strong base here for many, many years, as his career took off. She had a career too. I don't want to say because it may become too apparent.
Sure.
But kind of had to give that up because as his career took off, he started to work overseas and see the world, lots of the world, and then ended up, at the top of his game and before I retired.
Sure. So they've, as you mentioned, they've always been philanthropists. They've always given money. And in particular, his wife has really liked to approach people who are homeless, talk with them, engage with them, and give them money, gift cards, things like that. So this is not a new thing for them.
No, it's not. And you have to admire her. There's not many people who, just get out and talk to people on the street. It can be daunting. But she apparently has this ability to, and this part of her human nature, just to get out and talk to people and help them. Yeah. So they've been doing this for a long time. Um, almost 10 years they've been doing this kind of a thing, just, seeing people and handing them out things, knowing that that wasn't enough. Also, they've been contributing to organizations, um, in the millions of dollars to
Wow.
different organizations to different things. But after the last couple of years, they've thought this is just not enough, neither way, neither right in their face, helping them, giving them Tim Hortons cards, nor handing organizations money. They say the organizations have done great jobs. They love the people, they support them. But they started thinking, well, maybe this is not enough. That they needed a big shakeup.
Okay, because we had talked before about how there are so many organizations involved in this plan, and until now, it's very well, and even still now, it's very piecemeal, right? Because you go here for one thing, you go here for another thing. So I guess that's what spurred this donation. And what was what was their initial hope for this $25 million? What were they
Well,
thinking would happen?
Well, yeah. Just to go back to what you're right. They started to think about this the same time those organizations started to get together in the winter over the so-called three summits that led to this big new plan or new system, which is going to be, 24/7 shelter / community service hubs and far more supportive housing units. So they're starting to think about it too. And what he said to me, their thought is, they wanted to give a big donation to something. And all of a sudden they heard about this plan and thought, wow, this could be it. So they're hoping that this really kickstarts the new system. They also really want other wealthy people and other lenders to step in. As he said to me, he's not the richest. I mean, they're not. He said there's lots of money in this city. And they're hoping that by coming forward, they can encourage others to help out, because homelessness is a really tough thing to give money to, right? It seems almost impossible to solve. It seems, and some people just don't like helping people who are addicted to drugs, or people who are suffering mental illness. They don't like it, or they're afraid that it won't work, or they want to help but they don't know how. So they're taking this bold step, and they have not put any strings on this money, except it goes to this new system response, this new whole community response. It doesn't have to go to this kind of a housing unit or that kind of a shelter. They are totally trusting the people running this show to do the right thing. That's just a really, really courageous thing to do.
With a lot of money. 25 million is a lot, but it's not enough to, solve homelessness.
No, and they're willing to put up another $5 million if Londoners can find $5 million. But they're hoping that maybe 50, 60 million total by the time they're done. And then that leverage and his name, if it gets out in government circles or the higher levels, that helps. That gets money from the government. So if you got this serious a person with this kind of business experience to believe in this, then I think government officials as well are going to say, well, maybe London's got something good going on here.
Yeah. When you talk to him, he mentioned that he's heard a lot of questions and skepticism about this plan, like, why are you helping these people? They're on drugs. Some of them don't even want help. Why don't you pick another cause like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, any, something like that could go to research. And that this is a very uncontrolled plan. It's a very kind of pie in the sky idea, right?
Yeah.
And he's got answers. Sorry, he's got answers to all those questions.
He does. It does seem very pie in the sky. And I asked him all those questions, and he's heard it from other people, I think, already. Why? What the heck? To him, other causes have lots of support and money. He loves London. He and his wife love London. They want to help London. They want it to be a healthier city for everybody. He knows and understands that homelessness and people struggling on the street presents a real challenge for other people who want to go downtown. Nobody's nobody's comfortable, right? I mean, nobody's comfortable down there. So he wants to make the city better for everybody. And he, in his mind, as a former executive, he thinks there is a plan. He said there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's money now. There's solutions being worked on. He really admires that people are working on it. He's quite impressed by them. So for him, he's got what he needs to make this plan work. I don't know his business background that well. I don't think he can rise without having some vision, without
Mm-hmm.
taking some risks. But yes, this one I would put to him when I talk to him again someday. This might be riskier than any business decision he's made.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of faith in Londoners, both the people who are going to donate and the people who are going to lead.
I think there's probably a lot of people, and I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you've talked to a lot of them that think it takes somebody like this who has this much money to get the ball rolling on something as big as this, right?
Right, it does. And he, specifically mentioned the Ivy family, which has done so much to help London over the years. And they've done things like this. And so he does think it takes one person with courage or one family, he and his wife, to give this kind of money out there.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, and that's interesting because they really don't want their names out there. But I think they're going to eventually reveal who they are, because they know that a name attached to a cause can help.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you find out who he is and his wife is, there'll be a lot of people who will say, wow, this guy knows what he's doing in life. This guy's done, in a very quiet, pragmatic way, has done a lot and has been very successful. So maybe this is a good idea.
Right.
So he knows he has to do that, might have to do that eventually. He doesn't like it, but he will do it for this cause, he said.
Yeah. Um, and you did mention a little bit about this, but in the story, when you talk to him, he says that he and his wife have noticed changes downtown, specifically over the past 3 years, that the homelessness problem has gotten worse, which we knew about too. But what have they seen? What kinds of things?
Well, for them, it's just been the number of people out there that they've seen, and the kind of that element of fear that everybody has out there. And they have some trepidation themselves. He said, we used to walk along these streets, and now it's kind of like some days you don't even want to get out of your car, right? And it's just that there's more homeless people downtown. They are in other areas of the city too, Old East and up Richmond, and everybody seems a little more desperate. And I think that's very, very a post-COVID thing. COVID, as we know, shut down services. And now after COVID, we have high rents and inflation. It just seems like the numbers are growing and the desperation of people are growing. And that can, frontline workers themselves say that can lead to more violence, right? And more a lack of safety for everybody, including homeless people. So yeah, it's daunting out there, and they understand that. They understand that, it's tough downtown now. And and they want to help fix it. They want to make it thrive again. And that's their goal, to bring London back.
So where is the plan as it stands now? They've had a few summits. These organizations are talking, and where are we at now?
Well, they've done a lot of behind the scenes work, which is really hard to report on, because it's just, what, as they call in the social service world, tables. They've got tables set up. In other words, they've got subcommittees set up. They have who they want leading different areas.
Mm-hmm.
They have a group coming together who's going to oversee the fund, so-called cabinet.
Okay.
They are still planning and working hard to try to get some of these centers built in the fall. I think the plan that I've heard last is that in maybe later this month or July, counselors and the public might start to see some of the initial ideas. But I think those initial ideas are going to be sort of criteria. Where should places go? Not where they're going to go, but what kind of rules? You don't want a shelter, although many people in shelter are fine and healthy, or not healthy, but are trying to get healthy. You may not want them 20 feet from an elementary school, or, just these things, for whatever reasons, or maybe you want them in different areas of the city. So they're going to come up with those criteria, and then I think they're going to have some discussions about it. And then I think this fall, In the meantime, when things happen, for example, there's a indwell building, I believe, that's going to be part of supportive housing, because when things happen, they're not going to say you can't do this because it's not part of the plan. They're going to say,
Mm,
great, we'll roll it into the plan and we'll help you oversee it and all that. And places
okay.
like organizations are well on board with that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's certainly a lot to do, but the ball is rolling. The money is there. Hopefully we'll get some more money attracted to this program, and we'll definitely follow your reporting on all of this.
Right. And I just gotta say one more time, this husband and wife are impressive, and I hope that we all get to know who they are.
I hope so too. Are you sure you can't just let it slip right now?
I just can't do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Randy. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon about this.
All right, thanks.